Welcome and hello. Glad you're here. I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger at dansfish.com. We do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those who might be mountain challenged. We're going to do our shipping report today. We have a giveaway to talk about, and then we have a bunch of really exciting fish to show you that are being listed as we speak. Johnny is working on getting these listed right now, and they'll be listed throughout the live stream and later tonight. So we have a video featuring these fish that's almost done, just needs the the final touches, and then we'll render it out and load it up. That'll be up tomorrow. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. All right, I want to check one thing before we get too far, which is how is the audio? The last few weeks people have been saying the audio is low, and so we've made some adjustments. We did a test live stream a few days ago, tested some different settings with the audio, and I think we've got it fixed. So let me know if it's good, and let me know if it's, I don't want it crackly, I don't want the gain turned up so high that it sounds weird. How's it going? Does it sound okay? People are saying it's good. Okay, cool. Audio is Gucci. All right, well, enough said. If it's Gucci, we're done here. Hey, Jeff Rose, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Okay, good. Looks like audio is good, even on mobile. Perfect. All right. I hear you fine. I'm half deaf. All right, cool. Good, good. Well then, if no one has anything bad to say about the audio, we will continue. Let's start with the shipping report. I want to get this out of the way. This is a bad one. Last week I was so excited because despite winter weather and all that, we improved our success rate, shipping live healthy fish that arrived alive and healthy to our customers. We went down this time. Last week we were at 98.51% success rate for the last rolling 12 months. Today we are at 98.45. We went down 0.6%, which is a ton. And the reason is there were some real delays on the shipments that went out, I believe, Wednesday. Yes, the shipments that went out on the 17th. We had only, of all the shipments that went out on the 22nd, so Monday, there are very, very few issues there because didn't have a bunch of delays or anything. The boxes that went out on the 17th that weren't delayed, very few delays. There was like one cardinal tetra and a heat pack that maybe malfunctioned, according to what the customer's feedback gave us, with some Corydoras tetras. But what really hurt us was there was some major delays, like 6-7 day delays in some cases. One package got left on the UPS truck out in the cold for 2 days. So it was only 4 or 5 orders that experienced these big delays, and we send out a lot of orders, so it's a very small percentage, but the fish that were delayed for a long time did not do well, did not make it. So that is what contributed to the issue. Now, I'm happy to say it was much less of an issue than on January 30th of last year when stuff got grounded due to that Chinese weather balloon, spy balloon thing that happened in the middle of winter, shut down the Montana airport, and fish got stuck out on the freezing cold tarmac, and a lot of those didn't do well. So it's much less than that. So in a few days here, when we roll over into our 12-month rollover, it gets past January 30th, then our rate should improve drastically. But yeah, 6-7 days delay in the cold, that's too much for most fish. So that was the main part of it. Nothing we could have done about most of it. Let's see, what could we have fixed? A cardinal tetra that arrived DOA, I'm not sure what happened there, so I don't know if we could have fixed that or not. Our cardinal tetras are generally rock solid. The heat pack that was that malfunctioned, I'm not sure if that's something that was on our end or the heat pack manufacturer. Not sure why that didn't work, so I'm not sure on those two. And then the few losses we had on the shipment from the 22nd, I don't have any details on my sheet here that I keep track of everything on about that. So I think we're still doing a really good job. I think this was mostly circumstances beyond our control. But 98.45% for 12 months shipping live fish success rate, still really good. Like I defy anyone else in the industry to put their numbers up and in a transparent way and do better than that. So still really happy with it, but we want to get to 99%. That's what we're striving for. And I think we'll get there. I really do. Just gonna take some time. Just, it takes a little bit, 100% at a time. We kind of get up there to that success rate. Anyway, that is the shipping report. Let's get to the giveaway because this is a fun one. The giveaway tonight is for a beautiful loach, Soelia lineolata, also called sometimes they call it the butterfly Hillstream Loach or the reticulated Hillstream Loach, but most of us are familiar with these guys. They're fantastic. They don't like hurt anything, but they do display with each other quite a lot. And so it's really fun to watch them dance and display together and kind of flare up and push each other around in their contest of strength, trying to claim territory and impress females and such. I have found them to be a very hardy fish. They have the neatest adaptation. The whole point of being a flying saucer shape like this, a UFO shape, is they have a massive suction cup here. Like this all becomes a suction cup. And so they're able to cling to rocks in water that moves very quickly, where other fish simply could not live because the current is so fast it would sweep the other fish away. So they have specialized to those habitats. The other nice thing about those habitats is predators can't really get to them because if you're like a bird of prey and you try to dive down and get these guys, you're going to have trouble. The current is going to sweep you off your course, right? And so they have adapted to live where kind of nothing else can live. There aren't many competing species and not a lot of predators, which is awesome. In addition, something else that's really cool about their design is how the water flows over them. It's basically like, I mean, it's hydraulics, but it's like, you know, aeronautics, science. What is that called? When you're designing airplanes and stuff. I can't remember, but the way the water flows over them helps kind of push them down against the rocks as well. The way their fins have developed to get all this big surface area, the water flows over that and pushes them down. And so they can live in that really, really fast current. That being said, they don't have to have really, really fast current in order to live. They do well in aquariums without building a big specialized river manifold system or anything like that. Now, that would be really cool to see them in that kind of system. One day I'm gonna do that. I mean, I've done power heads and stuff, but one day I'll do an actual manifold system like that. Again, I've done it once before. But they don't need it. What they do need, though, is clean, well-oxygenated water. Because since they live in water with such high current, their hemoglobin levels in their blood are quite low. Because the oxygen saturation in water that is that rapidly moving is very high. So they don't have to have a lot of hemoglobin in their blood. So keep that in mind. You do need to have well-oxygenated water, but it doesn't have to be, an actual current system. A fast bubbling sponge filter or air stone or something like that does just fine. They also want clean water. Remember, these are kind of really high flow environments, so it's constant, really fresh water. You're not going to be getting ammonia and nitrogenous waste buildup in that kind of environment. So clean water, well oxygenated, and they should do well for you. They eat anything that sinks. They love bloodworms. They love to eat big sinking wafers and pellets. We rotate between like an algae wafer and big pellets. I think right now we're using Massivore, not Massivore Delight. They like that one too, Hikari Massivore Delight. Right now we have Extreme Monster Pellet that they like. And we also have a big algae waiver. I think it's, what is it called? It's the extreme algae wafer. Is it called Scratcher? Catfish Scratcher, something like that. I can't remember. And then we rotate in bloodworms and other foods like that. In the wild, they eat a lot of biofilm because, remember, they're in really fast-flowing bodies of water, and that sweeps all the dirt away and stuff. And so there's just rocks left. That's all that can, not be swept away in that quick of a current. And there's not a lot of prey items around. They eat the algae and biofilm that grows on top of those rocks. So they're around just scraping that off all day long. So they're a grazer. They're not a fish that you can put food in and it's going to go get a big meal within a few seconds and be fine for the rest of the day. It's a fish that needs to graze for long periods of time in order to get its nutrition requirements met. So keep that in mind. They need a lot of dwell time with their food. So if you have a well-established tank that has biofilm and algae and stuff growing, that's going to help supplement their diet as well. So anyway, really neat. Chevy Fish says bottom scratcher. Maybe that's Repashy. Does Extreme make a bottom scratcher? I can't remember. Extreme Scrapers, thank you, Alex. Yeah, bottom scratcher I think is Repashy. That sounds like Repashy. They have all kinds of fun names like bottom scratcher and red rum and morning wood. Repashy had fun naming his products. So if you would like to win a group of these, I think we'll send you 3 of these. They're normally about 20 bucks each. So with shipping, we're coming in right around 100 bucks for this giveaway, which I think is pretty good. Hashtag Loach Love. Enter hashtag Loach Love in the chat. That's hashtag LOACHLOVE. No spaces, capitalization does not matter. And that will enter you to win some of these beautiful Hillstream Loaches. I like all Hillstream Loaches. I haven't found one yet I don't like. That neat shape. A lot of them, you're just finally getting to the point where they're kind of coming in. A lot of them have some amazing coloration. We don't see a lot of them in the hobby yet, but there's some that have, we have the double red tail right now, the red tail Hillstream Loach. We've had the Bloody Mary. We've had some others as well. Some have like purple fins, some have like really bold margins across the fins and nice bold patterns. There are some amazing Hillstream Loaches out there that we just don't have good access to yet in the hobby here in the United States. But even if it's just a plain brown fish on up to those really colorful ones, the Hillstream Loaches are a ton of fun. Their behavior, their neat shape, their displays, I'm endlessly entertained by them as they kind of suck on things and scooch around on the glass and all that. Loaches in general, I think, are a really neat group of fish. So that, I see people are piling in on the giveaway, so that must be working. That's good news. Let me wet my whistle here. Cheers. Gonna get a drink, and then I'm gonna show you cool stuff that is listed or is being listed as we speak and will go on being listed tonight. Oh, I need another drink. Ah, that's better. Okay, so we're going to start with Giardinus metallicus. This is the black chin live bear. I love these guys. They look like little Frenchmen with like from the, I don't know, 1877 or something, where they've got this, old-timey black mustache, something like that. That's what I like about them. There's a yellow form as well. Here it is. This is the yellow form, which is fine. We've had that in the past. It's good. But I like this. I like that nice stark black contrast, that black mustache. They're called the black chin live bearer. They're super easy to breed, super hardy, small live bearer. I do not have a clue why they're not more readily available in the hobby, because they tick all the boxes, I think. But we have a nice group of these. By the way, all the fish I'm showing you today, I think, were bred and raised in Europe, with the exception of some of the more common live bears, koi guppies, and some of the platies and stuff that were sourced from farms in Israel. If you ever watched those tours of the fish farms in Israel that Corey from Aquarium Co-op did, and you saw their setups, That's the source for those kind of common guppies. But everything else is from Europe, which means I just have to give this caveat. It's expensive to bring stuff in from Europe. The fish there cost more. There's the shipping and import charges. And what was the other thing I was going to say about? Oh, and they pack in very undense. That's not a good way to put it. They put very few fish in each box that they send. And so the cost of freight per fish is more, but that's good in my opinion, because the fish, when they're packed lightly like that, don't have the exposure to ammonia that is par for the course for this industry. So when they're packed lightly like that, they arrive in much better health. They don't have the ammonia poisoning that fish generally get when they're shipped in this industry. So these are going to be quite expensive, what I'm showing you. You might experience some sticker shock when you get on the website and look at the prices, but just know I'm not gouging you. On a lot of these fish, I'm not even doing my normal markup. On a lot of these fish, I'm doing less of a markup. It's just they're expensive. But the quality is really good, and they ship them as humanely as I've seen in the industry, and so I think it's good to do. Plus, you just can't get some of this stuff other places. At least I can't. Limia nigrofasciata, the humpback limia. This is the first limia that I successfully spawned and raised, so it's a special place in my heart. You can see he's kind of getting the humpback here, that nuchal hump. There's some really old ones. Is that big old hump on those? And then they get this nice tiger striping with a black dorsal fin. And they're holding that thing up and displaying and flaring all the time. Very active. All limias that I've had so far are active, hardy, prolific, as easy to breed and raise as platies. And I think they should be more popular in the hobby. I'm just so surprised that they're as hard to find as they are. Corydoras schwartzi. We're able to get more of these in. These also came from Aquarium Glasser in Germany. As are these. We got some wild Bettis margadina in. So this fish has been bred somewhat and crossed and things in the hobby. And you find different versions of it. But the ones we have are the true margadina, the wild ones. And they're doing pretty well. Apistogramma agassizii, these are the blue flames that everyone wants and we keep trying to get in. There's only one breeder that I know of that's producing these. And we buy them out every time they have them. I'm waiting for more females. I was only able to get a few males in this time. I've been able to get females once before, but I'm hopeful that soon I'll be able to get a batch of, pairs or trios or something like that, because I know folks want to breed them. But this, I think, is an ideal centerpiece fish in a small, peaceful community aquarium, or an aquarium with small, peaceful community fish in it. I don't think that there's much better fish for that purpose than this. It's a bright colored fish. It gets a couple inches. Big male agassizii, maybe 3 inches, right? Not a massive fish. So imagine that, just a big, beautiful male of these surrounded by chili rasboras or equus pencilfish or corydoras, maybe pygmy cories, something like that. Pygmy hatchets, Cubitai rasboras, Celestial danios. Like, I think that is just, a lot of people want a nice centerpiece fish, and in nano tanks it's a little hard because a lot of the fish get too big or they just aren't as that brightly colored. But this, I think, ticks all the boxes when you're talking about a good centerpiece fish for a aquarium that has small, peaceful community fish in it. Rio Itaia angelfish. This one's hard to find. You can tell when you do a search for a fish in only one, maybe that's not one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pictures of it show up. Like, very few pictures are showing up for that search, that it's a fish that isn't around very much. But we have a very nice group. These also came out of Germany, and they're doing fantastic for us. For those that wanted the Guyana red dragons, we've run into an issue, so we took them down. The fins are deteriorating a little bit, and at first we thought they were just picking on each other some, but now it looks like there might actually be some fin rot in there. So we're working to try to prevent that from spreading and to see if we can treat it and get those nice and healthy for you. But I know a lot of people wanted the Guyana red dragon angelfish. Unfortunately, that happened, so we're trying to get them better for you. Footnote Panjax ME8I. I am a sucker for killifish. What can I say? I love them. And this is one of my favorites. I just think that this red stripe that divides the blue top from the yellow-orange bottom, that crisp delineation is so attractive to me. Nice fish, hardy and easy to breed. This is not a difficult one. I think this is a great fish for folks. More of the green laser corydoras. Depending on your lighting, the last tank we had them in, they looked like this. They were kind of a blue sheen with a blue stripe. I would say, I mean, that one kind of looks greenish there. But they were, to me, they looked more blue than green. We had them in a different tank, this new batch, same source, same everything, but we put them in a different aquarium and they look more like this, more of a green color. So lighting does play a role in how they look, but blue or green, they're gorgeous. I mean, this is an amazing fish, and the breeders do an excellent job. They've been very hardy for us. The only issue we had on a previous batch was an outbreak of velvet, but that wasn't the breeder's fault, and that wasn't the fish's fault. That's probably something they contracted somehow in our aquarium. So I can't blame them for that. But besides that issue, and that could have happened to any fish if they were put in a tank that had latent velvet in it. But besides that, we haven't had an issue with any of the green laser cories at all. Okay, look at this. Nothobranchius ricovii from Biera. Probably the 98 collection, but I'm not sure which year exactly these were collected. This might be the prettiest fish in the world. Like, I would put that up against, like, you know, the most exotic coral reef fish for color and beauty. I think they're amazing. The Ricovii genus developed really bright colors, and I think the reason is they come from basically big mud puddles, temporary bodies of water that are quite muddy, full of silt. You can't see through them. Can't see through the water. So how are you going to attract a mate? How are you going to make a female notice you? She can't see more than a few inches in front of her face. Well, you become dang bright. You become so colorful that you shine through that water as much as possible. So because of that, that genus is just gorgeous. Here's another one. This is Nothobranchius guntheri. This at one time was a very common annual killifish. If you wanted to get your feet wet with annual killifish species, often you would start with these. I remember buying these for $3-4 a pair when I was a kid. Not anymore. That's gone away. They're expensive now. There's a couple color forms. The natural color form is this, very beautiful fish. Another picture of it would be this, kind of red on blue. The color form we have is the gold, where that blue is done away with and you have a nice gold coloration. So here's another picture of a gold form, Nothobranchius guntheri. So those are the ones that we have available. Really hardy, easy beginner's killie if you want to get into African annuals. Nothobranchius corsagii from Mafia. This is the red form. We had a batch of these in before. They did fantastic for us. They did fantastic for our customers. And so we're like, we're going to bring those in again. That was successful. So anyone that bought these from us, did they do well for you? As far as I know, they did well for everybody, but I might have missed somebody. I might not know of a case. It might not have been reported. So just curious how the Nothobranchius corsagii from Mafia, the red form that you got from us the last batch, are doing for folks. But from what I'm hearing, they did great. Okay, we're going to switch up to another live bear. This is the saffron orange molly. Now, usually when you see this fish, it's something like this, right? But the strain we have is this. These are stunning. My picture's horrible, but it gives you an idea. Really good orange coloration, truly saffron. with some of them have these black accents on them, like the twin bar tail there and a little bit of black on the dorsal fin. I'm sure that's, and there's a little black in the dorsal on this one too. I'm sure that's maybe technically like a fault, but I think it looks great. I actually like it, like a little black highlight to accentuate the orange. And then they developed these nice big sail fins, and the body size on these are big, chunky, healthy fish. The breeder who worked this line wasn't content to, do the typical thing and just breed a normal molly. They focused on the body. I want to see if this is true before I say it. Yes, I think this is the most impressive domesticated molly strain I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of colorful mollies with nice big sail fins. This one has the best body. It's just robust. So, really quality strain of molly there. Okay, another wild live bear. This is Xenophallus umbratilis. Yeah, I said that right. A neat little fish. Looks like, they call it the shadow tooth carp. It looks like a Phyllichthys tico had a baby with like a pygmy swordtail, something like that. Really interesting, neat live bear. Not cheap, guys. These cost me so much to bring in. Again, I swear I'm not marking them up more than normal. In fact, I'm probably marking them up less than normal. We often do that with expensive fish. They cost me a lot to bring in, but they're neat. They're not something you can ever find. And so I was like, there's got to be a live bear nerd out there that has been waiting for these forever and is going to be happy that they were brought in, even though they're expensive. So I took a gamble on them. We have the RU2 Pseudomuga gertrudes. What I love about these is the bright orange tips on the fins. I just think they're spectacular. These and the RU4s are, I think, my favorite Gertrude. Elosoma evergladei, the pygmy Everglades sunfish. They basically look like an Astrolabius nigerpinnis or an Aphanius mento, but the Astrolabius evolved down in South America. The Aphanius evolved over in the Middle East and, southeastern Europe, North Africa. These developed in the swamps in the southeast United States, and they are stunners. The males are these dark fish with bright, glittery highlights on them, and when they are feeling really frisky, they blacken up quite a bit. Just a really, really gorgeous little fish. We didn't bring them in for a long time because like 20 bucks a piece, I was like, no one's going to pay that. But people kept asking and asking, and it literally took years of people asking before I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I brought them in, sold out. Brought them in again, sold out. Brought them in again, sold out. So obviously people like them, and so I'll keep bringing them in as long as people want them. Oh, look at those things, though. As a killifish lover, I love this. It reminds me of a killifish crossed with maybe a little dwarf cichlid or something. Another neat sunfish. This is the black. Is it black bar? I always forget. Black bar or black banded. That's what it is. The black banded sunfish. I have the species name up here. It's Chaetodon. Chaetodon. And right now, like this. Oh, that's my picture. That's why they have these nice kind of orangey highlights on the ventral fins, and they're going to turn into a nice dwarf species of sunfish. Not a pygmy, but quite small. Cardinal tetras. More of those that came in. Most of these fish you saw in the unboxing I released recently, and you'll see what they look like after 2 weeks getting through our quarantine system in the video tomorrow. Since these were featured in the unboxing, I figured I'd let you know. Adam, we have albino snakeskin koi puppies, which look like this. It's an albino koi with the snakeskin on the body. Very, very new to hit the industry. In fact, I know we were the first people in the United States to ever bring in those on a commercial scale. I could be wrong. As far as I know, that's true. bleeding heart platies, aka red tiger platies, aka pick your name. There's lots of names for them. It's a really nice platy. It's pretty and different. Another platy, my all-time favorite of the kind of not real expensive, not really fancy ones, the ones that don't break the bank. My all-time favorite of those are the neon yellow calico platies. I'll never forget the first time I saw them. I was walking through a wholesaler's facility and I saw a tank of them and they drew my eye from across the room. Like, they're that bright. And I walked over to the tank and I was like, I can't believe how intrigued I am with these. I can't believe I just fell in love with like a common platy. Like, that wasn't me. I was into like super rare stuff, but they got me back into livebearers. Pineapple swordtails. Very excited about this. Why? It's a panda catfish. They're a panda cory. They're in every pet store. They are. But it's so hard to get healthy ones. We try and try and try. We've tried lots of suppliers, and it's just difficult to get healthy ones. So I tried these, and the batch arrived in the best shape I've ever seen. I think this is true, that I've ever seen a batch of panda cories come from an industry source. They arrived great, and they've been great. It was clear from looking at them, even in the bag, that the line had been selected carefully. Nice, clear contrast, good looking fish. So our strain of these, I think, is really good. And provided they've done great for us, we're going to start selling them, provided they ship well and also do well for our customers. You never know quite what's going to happen with a new line of fish from a new source. But as long as that happens, I'm looking forward to bringing in a lot of these. Audio is choppy. Whoa, what did I do? Okay, hang on. Make sure my connections are good. Audio's cutting out. Am I just talking too loud? No, it's not that. My levels are good. Well, hopefully it wasn't choppy for long. Are we okay now? Is the audio good again? Was it just like a little momentary thing? Audio's fine here. Been fine for about 2 minutes again. Okay. Weird. I wonder what happened. I wonder if I just like bumped my little hip pack here that throws the wireless signal to the receiver or something. Okay. Was choppy. All right, it's good again. We'll keep going then. Anyway, I like these panda cories. I don't know how much of that you heard with the audio being bad, but I think they look really promising. Looks like we might have finally found a good source for these. And hopefully they turn out to be a consistently good source. That's an issue. A lot of times you'll try fish and it's like, they did great. And you'll get more and be like, they did terrible. What happened? So finding consistently good, that's the rub. It's getting better all the time though. I'm so happy with our suppliers. They have been, when I think of where we were a year ago with the quality of fish we were getting, the density in which they were being packed, how the heat packs were being used and how cold the fish were arriving and stuff. And I think about where we are now a year later, it's improved so much. So our suppliers have really been leaning in. They've been trying to improve things, and they have been improving things, and it's getting a lot better. And we're going to continue to. Oh, in fact, let me read you an email from one supplier. This was very gratifying. Okay, just a moment. Let me find this. I believe it's there. Nope. Okay. This will be worth it, I promise. At least it was worth it to me. Oh yeah, here it is. So before I read this, I want to tell you something. If you're new here, you might not know what we're trying to accomplish here at Dan's Fish. We didn't just build a fish store to try to get rich. That's ridiculous. if like if you want to get wealthy, there's other businesses you can go into, other fields that can make that actually happen. The reason we started dansfish.com was to change the narrative in the aquarium industry. What's the narrative in the aquarium industry, you ask? Well, here's what I experienced. I've been keeping fish since junior high school. And when friends would come over and see my aquariums, for the last decades, I heard this. Oh, I used to keep fish, but they all died. That was a narrative I heard over and over. I guess I should switch screens while I rant, and over again. And so that's the narrative. I used to keep fish, but they all died. You can sum up our industry in that statement. Yes, as total fish geeks like you and I are, we have probably gone through that, but we didn't let it deter us. We researched, we learned, and we got to the point where we kind of knew how to be successful. But I bet you even now, we still struggle with fish a lot of times. So why is that the narrative, that I used to keep fish, but they all died? Well, there's two things mainly. One is education. So if you don't know the basics of the nitrogen cycle, it's going to be hard for you to maintain fish, right? You might fill up your tank and just throw a bunch of fish in right away and wonder why they all die a week later when the ammonia spikes, right? So there is some basics of education. But there's something else that was happening that I learned after, decades of working in the industry. I've worked in this industry at many different levels. And it is the industry itself. It's the supply chain. It's how fish are sourced and transported. And so basically, fish go through a long, arduous journey to get to our local pet stores. And they're densely packed, many, many fish in a single bag, because folks are trying to save on freight costs. And the more fish you can ship in a volume of water, since freight goes by weight, the cheaper it is per fish, right? So you pack as many as you can in. When they're packed like that, they get exposed to ammonia. They get ammonia poisoning. And they arrive at the pet store. They might look okay, but they're super stressed, and their tissues are damaged from exposure to ammonia. And so little Johnny or Susie goes to the pet store and buys one, and they take it home and they put it in their tank, and it's wonderful. And then within a week or two, that fish is likely to have died. So we decided to start this company to change that, to try to make a gentler, kinder supply chain, a kinder, gentler, more humane industry side of things for the fish to experience. So they get to us in better shape, and so they would arrive better to our customers. The main way to do that, there's two things. One is shorten transit times, and the other is pack the fish less densely. Less fish per box, less fish per volume of water, so the ammonia concentrations don't build up so much. And on the back of that, after working for that for a few years now, here's an email I got from a supplier. I can't tell you how priceless your feedback has been, so please keep it coming. We now split practically every bag that comes in, and it has done wonders for our mortality rate. That's just a couple sentences in this conversation. What does that mean? We now split the bags. It means that they are now packing fish at half the density they were before they started working with Dan's fish. So that felt like a victory because, again, yes, we want to sell fish. Yes, we want to make a comfortable living, but our mission is not, to be another fish store. Our mission isn't like do more of the same. Our mission is to change the industry, to change that narrative. And it feels really good when a supplier who doesn't just supply us, this supplier also supplies lots of other pet stores around the nation, notices the difference and makes that change and sees a success. And now there's lots of pet stores around this nation that are getting fish that are packed in much less density, at least half the density that they would otherwise have been doing for decades. So that's a big victory for us. So that feels really good. Now, that's just one supplier. We have many suppliers, and it's going to take a lot more work before we have the impact we really need to have. But it's so nice when you find suppliers that are like, yeah, we want fish to be happy and healthy too. we want to treat them like animals that deserve respect instead of just a commodity as well. So we'll work with you. And those are the people we work with. The ones that won't, we just don't keep working with. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, on the back of that, I got one more fish to show you. Nematolibius whitei Sao Pedro de Aldea. This is a killifish from South America. This is an annual killifish species. These are big, they're beautiful, and when I say big, I mean it. Like for a killifish, these get massive. These are gonna get, up to 4 inches, a big male. They're big. Imagine all this color and all these sparkles that are gonna come in more and more with age on a big 4-inch fish. These are young fish. Let me see if I can find a big chunky, a picture of, now that's one, but the picture isn't super clear. Oh, here we go. There you go. See all this spangling? See all these beautiful colorations? And look at that anal fin there. Here's another one. That's a pretty good shot. There's a male, there's a female. Another, just a close-up of a female there. The ones we have the kind of orange on the bottom and reddish on the tail. That comes from that collection location. Ooh, there you go. That's papilliferous, which used to be whitei. Maybe went back. I'm not sure what the current classification is. So beautiful annual killifish. This used to be one of the most popular killifish in the hobby. And it's super hardy and prolific and easy. So this was also the go-to fish for hobbyists that wanted to try killifish and wanted to try annual killifish for the first time. It's a peat diver. What that means is in nature and in the aquarium, the way they spawn is they literally dive down into the mud. They bury themselves. They swim down 3-4 inches into the mud. They disappear. They lay the eggs and then they pop back out. In nature, they do that in the mud and leaf litter. In aquariums, we usually use peat moss for that. Now, I have to talk about these a little bit. I have to talk about their legality. So there's a big scare going on right now in the killifish world, and it's been going on for years, that it's illegal to keep South American annual killifish species. And you'll hear that over and over. In fact, I'll probably get comments in the chat, and I might get comments on this video saying, wait, those are illegal. They're not. That's not actually true. How do I know that? Well, I have close relationships with Fish and Game, and I've checked with them. Also, I checked with PJAC, which is the main lobbying organization for the pet industry here in the United States. And I said, what's going on here? And we had a long conversation about that. Also, when I bring fish like this in, I tell Fish and Game, I tell or my broker tells, or whoever I'm working with tells, Fish and Game, we're bringing this in. We declare them. It's not like we're sneaking these in our boots or hiding them in our underwear. Like, these are brought in openly and legally, and they are not illegal. What happened was Brazil said, we aren't going to let any of these fish out of our country anymore, and we're going to consider it illegal for anyone to keep them. But that's Brazil's rule. That doesn't affect me in the United States. I'm not bound by what their government says or what the laws their government passes. So here in the United States, it's perfectly legal. I'm not a lawyer. I guess I have to put that disclaimer here, but I've talked to the experts and the people that regulate me, and from our conversations, it's perfectly legal to own, breed, and distribute and sell fish, South American annual killifish from Brazil. There is a website that if you want to see what's illegal to keep in the United States, you can go to. It's a federal list, and it lists all the fish. And this fish is not on there. In fact, none of the South American annual killifish species are on there. So I just want to clear that up, because it's much ado about nothing, but there's people that are very, like I had in a Santanier, another annual killifish in a while ago, and everyone's like, oh, you can have those, you're going to get arrested, all this stuff. And it's not true. That's a rumor that took hold, a fear that took hold, and people treated it as truth. But as a guy who's deals with the authorities on these things and has to get them cleared by the people that would readily fine him if he was doing something illegal. Not a lawyer, not any of that, but from the experts that I talk to, who are the regulators in a lot of cases, these are fine. So just want to put that out there because I know I'm going to get, I know things could blow up. Okay, with that, let me close these gazillion tabs. There are a lot of tabs open here, and we'll get to your questions and comments. Okay, closing tabs like a madman, and wow, that was a lot of fish. Okay, I think, yeah, there we go. I think we're back. Okay, that's all I've got. Time to get to what's going on with you guys. Oh, holy cow, I went for 48 minutes. I yammered on for almost 50 minutes. Whew. There are 425 folks here. That's pretty awesome. Thanks for being here, folks. If you know someone who would like this kind of thing, would you mind sharing it out to them? Let's grow this thing. We're trying to grow this channel. We're also trying to get to 30,000 subs. So if you haven't subscribed and you like this stuff, then let's do it. Today's the day. All right. About to get to your questions and comments, but before I do that, I just want to thank my moderators for being here, for moderating this stream, for volunteering their time every week to make this successful. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to scroll up. So here's what I do, right? I scroll up as far as I can. Whoop. That's as far as I can do. Everything above that is cut off. So if you had a question or comment that you left above that, right around when the audio was cutting out and was choppy, I'm not going to be able to get to that. So feel free to list it again. Passing wind. Looking at the plates and all of a sudden here's Barry White in his head. Whatever floats your boat, big one. Oh, let me go back there. There we go. Big one, I meant big boy, sorry. Jacob Messer, have you seen, Priapella Olmekea? No, I don't even know what that is. Have I seen that? I don't know if I have. What is that fish? Oh, neat little live bear. I have not seen these available. Pretty much if I see a wild type live bear available that I haven't heard of or seen, I'm gonna bring it in just because I want to see it. And I figure if I've never seen it or heard of it or anything, it's probably pretty rare, and there's probably a group of live bear nerds that would want it. Now, every now and then I'm wrong about that, and I sit on very expensive fish and and try to explain to all my coworkers why I'm spending their raises and bonuses on fish they don't sell. But generally it works out pretty well. Gold Nugget Pleco Tetra. I learned today that Seachem Flourish Excel can stunt Vallisneria growth. Did you know that? I did not know that, Gold Nugget Pleco. I literally know nothing about plants. I take a plant, I put it in the tank. If it lives, it lives. If it dies, I don't get that plant again. That's the extent of my knowledge, basically, with aquarium plants. Now, not quite. I'm doing myself a bit of a disservice there, but I am not an expert on aquarium plants. And I haven't had to use dechlorinator for years, so I don't have much experience with that and plants. The only thing we use it for is we do put Seachem Safe in our shipping water because that will help detoxify any ammonia that might occur during shipping. Big Steve's Glassbox Creations. Do you guys run any special substrate or RO remineralize for your Sulawesi shrimp? No, they're in our normal system that all of our fish and other critters are kept in. We basically just feed them fish food. They might get some Bacter AE on occasion, but mainly there's Java moss in there for them to graze on. There's some wood in there for them to graze on, and then they just get fed fish food. We don't do anything special with the water. Now, Big Steve, if you don't know about our system, look at some of the past videos. We built a facility here with a very unique system for obtaining and utilizing water. The way we do it's very different than any other, freshwater fish store that I'm aware of. So check that out. That might answer your questions. But our water happens to be awesome for Sulawesi shrimp. It's hard, it's alkaline. We keep it at 79 degrees. We don't go up in the 80s or any of that stuff. And they work great. Our colonies boom. David Allen, got my spotted Hillstreams and shiners, and they're doing great in their 40-gallon river biotope. That sounds awesome. Thank you. Out of curiosity, do you know when you might restock some Scleromystix barbatus? I don't know when I'll get more of that fish in. Here's the reason. I have yet to find the place where I can buy them with confidence. And also, when I've had them in the past, they've taken a while to sell. So, being that the market doesn't seem to want to pay what they cost, and I only tried them from a couple suppliers in the past. Oh, maybe I will. I do like that fish. I'm a little gun shy though, because when I brought them in before, how much did I have to sell them for before? Now this could have changed. I haven't brought them in for, I don't know, it's been a year, maybe more. Let me look. I can't do this. I think I can do that here real quick. Let me see if I can look up what they cost last time we brought them in a timely manner, so it doesn't get too boring for people that are not interested in this specific thing. Here we go, store items. And it's going to take just a moment to load because we have a lot of store items. We have quite a bit of inventory. This would be catfish. Okay, here are our cory types. Let me see when I can get to the Scleromystix. They're going to be down quite a ways because it's been a while since I've had them. Scrolling through here. Okay, getting closer. They are an awesome fish. The other thing about them is, as you probably know, is they're quite aggressive with each other. Those in the lineage 1 cories, I don't really like keeping cories because get them in big groups that will literally kill each other. And there aren't many, but the lineage 1 ones will, and Scleromystix will. Holy cow, I've gone way down and I'm not seeing them. I've got to keep going now, though. I've put this sunk costs, right? I've put this much effort into it. There it is. Yeah, so last time we had them, we had little ones, about inch and a half. I was selling them at $19.95, and it took a long time for them to sell, even at that price. So that was not a ridiculous price. Jeff Pelham Aquatics, said it before and again, you are the tropical fish ambassador of, what is that word? Dare I say it live? Anericus? I don't know what that means, so if it's really bad, I apologize. But thanks, Jeff. We're trying to make a difference. That's why we have this company. Bottom line, I've worked in this industry at many levels, big distributors, small mom and pop shops, and I've seen the carnage, frankly, and the whole idea was to not start a store that would just do more of the same. The whole idea was, let's do something we can wake up in the morning and be proud of and be excited for. Because I'm not excited to get up in the morning and work at a company that is responsible for the mistreatment and death of a lot of fish and is not actively working hard to iterate and improve that. And so that's why we started this company. So I love it. Like, I'm poorer than I've ever been. It's been a while since I've talked about this. I was a professor before. I was a tenured professor at the local college. Full retirement benefits, full health benefits, a very generous IRA type package, and all that. But I wasn't excited to get up every morning and go do that. So I changed to this, and I have to tell you, happiness beats money all the time. Now, hopefully we get to the point where we're able to do this and have the happiness and still make a decent living. I think that day's coming. We're scaling well. Things are growing as they should. And as the company scales, things get better and better in that area. But at the moment, for years now, since I started it, it's been very lean, that's for sure. Cool videos from a cool guy. Just got a platinum half-beak. Love her so much. Very cool fish. Aren't they so unique? Yeah, they're fantastic. They look like a miniature alligator gar. I love them too. I hope you really enjoy them and they do well for you. Ichthyes aquatics. That's like fishes aquatics. What is a good number of Hillstreams to have in a 3-foot bookshelf tank? I currently have 2. What type of food do they eat other than algae on rocks? So I went over that earlier, what they eat, so I'll let you go back and pick that up. We basically feed them a rotation of algae wafers, and then the next day we'll give them like a big, large protein pellet, and then we'll mix in some bloodworms and stuff. And they also have stuff in there that they can graze on between that. So they're not picky at all. If it sinks, they'll eat it. You just want to make sure they're getting a nice varied diet. And how many would I have? 3-foot tank. Personally, I do at least a dozen. I liked big groups of fish. I like that you get more, first of all, you see them more. They're out and about more. And also there's a lot more interaction between them. There's nothing I like more than taking, I have a video of this somewhere where I show them feeding. I have them on sand and I take some pellets and I put them in there and they sink to the bottom. And then the horde of Hillstream Loaches comes out and they're all flaring sand around and this tornado's happening as they're like trying to push each other off the food and get to it and stuff. It's just really fun to watch all the interaction. So I get like a dozen. Fish Hunter, how long do annual killifish live in an aquarium? Also, is there a good site to research killifish? There's lots of good sites for researching killifish. I started the aka.org. Let me put that in here. aka.org. That's the American Killifish Association.org. There's several others out there as well. There's some really passionate killie keepers, and they've been doing it. It's the AKA is the longest continuously running freshwater aquarium club in the world, I believe. So the killie hobby has been going strong since like the 50s. And there's enough passion in that there's several sites that have been built that are dedicated to that. So I'd start there. And how long do they live? It depends on the species, but well over a year if they're treated right. Christopher Junkin. Check out Select Aquatics. Yeah, I know Greg. In fact, a couple months ago, Greg was up here visiting the warehouse, looking at all the fish and stuff. I just got 11 from Greg, 11 years of breeding Odessas. Will tell you how good of a guy Greg is. There's no better Odessa on the planet. I agree. I think Greg has the best Odessas. And I think Greg's a great guy. So, agreed on all fronts. Yeah, he's a fantastic fella. Is it illegal to keep Mekong catfish? I don't know. That's a fish that I would never bring in, so I've never bothered to look up its legality. I mean, in the United States, there's, I don't know, maybe, I'm going to give it quite a spread here because I don't know for sure. Maybe 50 aquariums, maybe 50 fish keepers that have aquariums sufficient to house one of those long term. So, you know, I wouldn't bring that in. That would just ensure a lot of suffering for fish. Mipster, I received my Pisto agassizi from you 2 weeks ago and I love them, but they're pretty picky eaters. Huh. Could you suggest any pellets, flakes that they might have enjoyed before? Yeah, we feed them a mix. They ate so we would feed the extreme monster pellets. We would feed extreme krill flake. By the way, I'm not loyal to extreme or anything. I think it's a good food, but the reason we're using that is we can buy in bulk from them at a good price, and it's a good, decent food. So that's kind of why we use them. But I like Hikari as well. I like lots of brands. So just because I feed a lot of extreme doesn't mean I think that's the only food you should feed. It's just they have good ingredients, and for a facility my size, they're willing to work with me because I like to buy food in bulk. Anyway, we feed the extreme krill flakes. We feed the extreme nano pellets. I also really like the PE mysis nano pellet. That's a really good one. What else were we feeding them? Frozen bloodworms, maybe some frozen brine shrimp on occasion, spirulina flakes. We use the Zoomed 20, again, because I can buy it in big, like 10 to 20 pound containers. That's why I get that. I think that's the basics, but nothing fancy. We just feed them normal prepared food supplemented with some frozen foods on occasion. Live baby brine shrimp is a treat. This is 4511. Any success finding a good Congo importer? Not yet. The truth is I haven't even gone far down that rabbit hole. There is someone from South Africa, who's trying to set up a kind of new, modern, do-it-right export hub for fish like that. They aren't active yet, but they've reached out to me a couple times, and I'm excited to follow their progress. Once they're ready and they reach out, I'll have an in-depth conversation with them, and then provided everything goes well with that, I plan to do a couple test orders in the hopes that they do a good job. Yeah, that's where it's at right now. And that's what it's going to take, I think, is someone to come in and say, okay, I'm going to set something up with this in mind and kind of, do it right. And yeah, I think it's going to take someone new to step in and set something up. Kelly Foreman, 10 gift certificates, or not gift certificates, memberships were just given out by Kelly Foreman. Kelly, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And there's also 463 folks here. That's awesome. Thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for spending a wee bit of your Wednesday evening with us. Oh, did chat just jump? Gosh, it did. Well, shucks. Let's see here. The next one I can see is from Ichthys Aquatics. What are those tetras that are on the tank behind you? I got one by accident when I bought some Colombian tetras from an LFS. Well, you are lucky. That's a Crybix, I think is how you say the species name. It's the giant spotted emperor tetra is one of the common names. And I forget the genus name. They get about 3 inches or so, and that's what they look like. What you're not seeing here is they actually do get some nice color on the anal fin. Do any of those show it? No, not right now. They hadn't been in that tank too long when this video was taken. So they kind of colored down and not colored back up. The other thing that's interesting is some of them have red spots and some have brown spots. I don't know if that's a male-female thing or what, but they're really cool fish. You lucked out when you got those. Kids, reptiles, and aquatics. Time keeps marching on. I know, it's 8:05. Or did you mean life? I know, I'm in my mid-40s. Or did you mean the day? I know, it's already, well, evening. I already said 8:05. It does, though. Time's flying. Get on the fishmonger train. Choo-choo. Thanks, Kelly. Really appreciate you, lady. Ari Cat, will you be getting Florida least killifish in? Probably not. Heterandria formosa. Let's show you guys these. Is a cool little fish. It's a cool little live bear, very small males. Basically a mosquito fish type. And I believe, is this the one that has, I could be wrong. No, that's not the one that has a melanistic form, is it? Whichever one it is, I really like the melanistic form of, oh, that's Gambusia, yeah. They remind me of a Gambusia. Anywho, the least killifish is a really cool little live bear. I think of them as kind of a neat mosquito fish type. The problem with them is they are, even though they're tiny and stuff, they're ornery little guys. They will nip the fins off of anything and they'll harass the other fish in the aquarium. So you kind of have to just have a group of these dedicated to each other, from what I've experienced. And I don't think there's really the demand for these for me to bring them in and take up a whole aquarium to house them. You can find them generally very inexpensively already. Yeah, Wild Fish Tanks has some. That's a trio for $15.99. And by the way, yeah, go. This is a great guy. If you don't know Wild Fish Tanks, I would just say, let's get him from Wild Fish Tanks. I like to support that guy. I think he's a good dude. Okay. Nabokov, hey, good to hear from you. Can you talk about the increase in demand of your fish and how you handle things moving forward? The SAE sold out 3 to 4 times the past 2 weeks. Same with the autos. How do you handle available common species? Okay. I love talking about the business side of things. I worry that too much of that will make the average viewer here bored because they probably want to hear about fish. But basically, we are collect data, based on the data, form a hypothesis, test that hypothesis, and if it proves out, implement that new procedure, that new thing into our processes and procedures. That's basically how we progress. We test and iterate, test and iterate, test and iterate. Collect data as much as we can. It's not perfect, and we don't have data on everything we want data on, but all the time we're getting more and more data on things that matter. We're getting smarter and smarter as far as our database goes of useful information. And we will keep progressing in that manner, and I think we'll always operate in that manner. So as far as how do we handle things, we look at the data and we model things out and we form a hypothesis, and then we say, is this the best way to move forward? Let's find out, and we try it. And then we analyze that data and we either make that change or we don't. So that's how we handle things. Often it's, what are the pain points? What are the choke points? What are the things that, by pain points, I mean, what is the thing that is like keeping the flow of our processes from being smooth? As you grow, it becomes different things. So you find those little pain points, and then you iterate changes in those and test those changes as you iterate. So that's basically how we do it. Now, I have one supplier that I trust with auto sync. So you're asking for things like, these fish keep selling out. How do you handle that as you grow? For me, it's fish quality comes first. We ask ourselves 3 questions on any decision we make. The first is it good for the fish? The second is it good for the customer? And the third is, does the data support it? Fish trumps everything. If it's not good for the fish, we're just not going to do it. Because if it's not good for the fish, it's not good for the customer. They're not going to receive as good a fish. So autos, for example, I have one supplier I trust with autos. I've tried them all. I know what happens on that supply chain. There's one supplier that I trust. They don't always have them available. They don't always have as many as I want available. So when I can get them from them, I bring in as many as I can. And that's as many as I can have until the next time they're available. So there are some things where I don't really control the supply. And I'm just not going to buy them from other places because it wouldn't be fair to those fish. So our mission and how we're trying to approach things, is it good for the fish, is the first question. Sometimes artificially enforces, it's axiomatic that there might be a shortage of some things because I'm only going to get them from this one person. Now, if a new supplier comes on and they have a good reputation, we talk and it seems like they are doing right by the fish and they have autos, then I would test them and I would see if I want to, get them from them as well. And if I can, then I'll have 2 sources and maybe I'll be out less often. But the bottom line is I'm only going to buy certain fish from certain places, and there's going to be a choke point there because one place can't supply all the world's autos. So that's how we kind of move forward. Yeah, I guess that's an answer. It's 8:12. We've still got a little time, so we're gonna keep on trucking. But basically, what we try to do as we move forward is keep our processes flowing smoothly, find out where those pain points are and fix them. Make sure our employees are treated right, and either bring on new equipment or more employees as needed, and make sure that our fish are continually getting the best experience possible. Cool videos from a cool guy. Oh, about the platinum half-beak. Yes, they are awesome. Heather Green. Can you give more information about the blue polar parrots and how many to put in a 60-gallon tank? Well, I love that fish. I know. They're a hybrid, they're a man-made fish, I know, but they're cute and they're pretty, and I really like them. And their mouth works properly, so I don't feel guilty about having them. In a 60-gallon, totally depends on how much bio load you want to handle, how much maintenance you want to do, and such. But I might get 6 in there as a start, and then go from there. That's probably what I would do. Now, if they get big or pair off or something like that, you might end up having to sort some of those out. But I think I would start with 6 in a 60-gallon. But that's just me. One's great too. They're a great little wet pet. Kyle Hernandez, why are Indian green pufferfish or pipefish so hard to find? Well, pipefish are generally hard to find. They're out there, but you might order 10 times and they'll never show. So they're on the list. Sometimes they actually show up when you order them. But when they do, they often are not, let's just say they're a specialized fish and the supply chain doesn't know how to handle them properly. So you're taking a big gamble as a fish business or an importer to bring them in, because the odds are they aren't going to show up, and the odds are if they do show up, they might not do well. They're probably not going to do well for you because the industry doesn't handle them correctly. So right there, most businesses are not going to bring them in. It's too risky. It just doesn't make financial sense. And then they're very specialized. So in order to feed those things, there's only certain foods they'll eat. They kind of need a dedicated tank. There's not a lot of fish you can keep them with. And so there's a lot of things against them from a business perspective. So most businesses are not going to be able to bring them in. It just wouldn't make sense for their model. Now we brought, not the green pipefish, but we brought some dwarf pipefish in before. I love them. They're really neat. We bred them. They spawned for us. We had babies. We raised the babies up. We sold everybody. It was a fun thing to do once and then move on to something else. I might do it again. Once I finally get my breeding rack set up, that's a fish that I would definitely dabble in again. But it's not a really commercially viable fish. And unfortunately, if things are not imported on a commercial scale, they're usually not imported at all. Ravi Ibrato, any tips on breeding chinoides? Yes, I can talk about that. I've bred those. Caught my male holding eggs a few days ago, but I think he swallowed them. And he might have. My best tips for chinoides are, first, cover the tank because they jump like crazy. Second, have a lot of cover in there so that when the male is holding, he can go find a spot where he feels secure and just hide. And you might not see him again until after he releases his fry. And the third is, after they spawn, remove the females. You don't want him to finish the spawn cycle and then go breed immediately again. He needs some time to actually eat and bulk back up and gain his weight back between spawnings. He needs a few weeks of recovery time. So those are the 3 big things I would say. I have not found them to be picky about water chemistry. Quality, yes. But hard alkaline, soft, acidic, whatever, they're fine. I've bred them in like Los Angeles tap water. The hardest, most like just TDS off the charts water you can find. They did fine. I've also bred them in soft acidic water. So that's not an issue. It needs to be clean though. So that's what those are the tips I would start with. Lady Rorschach. Hey, good to hear from you again, lady. Any plans on getting some Bloody Mary Neo shrimp? I would love to diversify my current populations and bloodlines. Thanks for your time. Not in the near future. Before I really go deep into fish, I need to become shrimp. I need to become much more informed about shrimp. I need to develop some processes and procedures around that. Right now, I have red cherry shrimp, and I don't want to bring in something too similar because I don't want to cross things up and muck up things. So if I see a red Neocaridina in here, I know it's a cherry shrimp. Like if someone pulls out a plant and moves it to another tank and red shrimp appear, it's not a problem. There's no other, like, Bloody Marys or whatever for them to cross with. So right now, I just don't have a sophisticated idea around how to proceed with shrimp. But they are something I want to get into more. I do love them. Troy, getting in any rare types of Hillstream Loaches like Laticeps. I've had Laticeps, and I love that fish. Guys, you have to see this fish, people. This is worth a quick field trip. Let's go on a quick field trip here. Look at these. Neat purple fish with some some nice margins. Here's what they look like in display. Just an absolutely really neat Hillstream Loach. Yeah, I like them a lot. Unfortunately, I don't have a good supplier to continually get them. Whenever I see a Hillstream Loach, I do have some suppliers that occasionally get something cool, like Bloody Marys or the red-tailed Hillstream Loaches and stuff, which I don't remember the scientific names or locations or numbers or whatever at the moment. But when we see that stuff, I always bring it in if it's from a supplier I trust and I've had good experiences with. And there are a few people out there that supply a lot of different kinds of Hillstream Loaches, but I haven't had I've done some test orders and not had good experiences, so I pulled back on that. So it's just try to find the right way to get them type thing. But yes, I love them and I want them. I think they're fantastic. John Snow Radio. The Beck 40 pencilfish we got from you on 9/21 are plotting to take over our 75. We must have 4 times the number we got from you. Amazing fish, first time breeding egg layers. John Snow, that's so amazing. I'm glad to hear they're thriving and spawning for you. And aren't they the prettiest little things when they display and those like vibrant white tips on the fins shine? Yeah, I love that fish. I'm glad they're doing great. That makes me happy. You know anything about the Linni or Linny longfin white cloud minnows and how it is different from any other longfin white cloud minnows you sell? I don't know that. All I know is that they're those ones are from Germany, and it's a specific strain that they call the Linni strain. Now, that's all I know. Don't know more about that. I'm sure that it originated as just a normal longfin white cloud strain that they started working with. But when I look at it, no, it looks the same as a normal white cloud strain to me. But if you Google it and talk to some hobbyists and stuff, the Linni is a name that people recognize and know as a certain line. And so I did want to keep it separate from my others and sell it as something separate for people that matters to. But I wouldn't know the difference. I'm not like I'm not deep into the white cloud, genetics or lines or anything like that. Although I would really love to find a good source of longfin golden white clouds. I can get longfins and I can get goldens, but I don't know anyone that's churning out longfin goldens. Nathan Hovey, what are the bag sizes, thickness you use? Please and thank you. The smaller one we use, the one we use the most, is 4 inches by 12 inches. The next size up, the one we use second most, is 6 inches by 14 inches. And then we also have an 8-inch by 16-inch one that we occasionally use, but not very often. We get them from uline.com. They're the 4 mil poly bags. Jeff Pelham, sorry, bad typing, America. America is what I meant, though. I was like, what is this word? Do I need to look it up on Urban Dictionary before I say it in public? I don't know. Ari Cat, what did you teach? I could see learning from you being fun, especially about fish. Well, it was far from that. I taught theater. Early on, as I was earning my, paying my dues to get a good full-time position, even in the early days of having a tenure track position, I also taught public speaking. I taught history. I really like history. I'm qualified to teach history and a few other courses, but the main thing was theater. The theater is my background. I'm a child of the stage. Mr. Black, would Fundulopanchax gardneri be okay in a community aquarium with cardinal tetras and other similarly sized fish? What is the smallest fish you would keep them with? I have kept gardneri with cardinal tetras, and it was fine. I also tried keeping them cardinal tetras with blue galaris, and it didn't work. The cardinal tetras picked the blue galaris fins because they're long and wavy enough. But the gardneri have small enough fins that they worked fine with the cardinal tetras. The smallest fish, well, it's not just about length, it's also about girth, and it's just whatever doesn't fit in their mouth. I would not keep the gardneri with anything that's slow swimming or has long flowing fins or anything like that, because the gardneri can be nippy. But it's really about, is this fish one that they're going to want to nip the fins of or whatever? And will it easily get, not easily, and can they choke it down their throat? If they can, I wouldn't put it in there. Okay, it's time for the giveaway. Let's do it. We are giving away a group of Hillstream Loaches. I think we'll do 3 of the Swellia lineolata, such a beautiful Hillstream Loach, the Reticulated Hillstream Loach, sometimes called a butterfly Hillstream Loach. We'll do that drawing right now. And the winner is Dragon Lair Patrick. It's about time. See, we've got 462 folks here, and out of all that, Patrick won. As you know, Dragon Lair, you have 2 minutes to chime in and let us know you're here. You do that by leaving a comment in chat. Could be anything, but you got to leave something in chat. And I'm sure you're here. Dragon Lair's always here. Anyway, I got to set that timer. Rules is rules. All right, timer's going. I'm rooting for you, Patrick. All right, while we're waiting for Patrick, I'm going to get another one. Cool videos from a cool guy. Did you do the giveaway yet? Why, yes. We're in the middle of the giveaway, as you now know. Ruben Daly, I might fall asleep. Your nerding is very soothing. Oh, should I do this as ASMR? This talking fish is ASMR so people can fall asleep? The fish swims through the aquarium. The fish is not in a hurry. The fish has no plans. The fish is just going to be what the fish wants to be. Splish. Splash. Only we. Do you plan on attending the Tampa, aka ALA convention in May? I would love to, but I don't have any plans to do that this time. We're getting close. Right now, I'm traveling to fish events if they invite me to speak. I'm doing that. I can't yet justify skipping away from the business just to go attend something for funsies at this time. So I'll go if they invite me to speak. And hopefully, if this next year goes like we think it will, then maybe next year, the year after, I'll be able to maybe just go to the AKA because I want to, right? So, but at the moment, it's still got to serve the business. Or, I mean, how should I say? At the moment, I can't justify taking off and going on a trip just like that. If you sell pipefish again, they should come with a little bit of pearlweed. Just, I can't elaborate. This is like a family-friendly stream. Lady Rorsash, no worries. I appreciate it. How are your Sulawesi shrimp? Awesome. They're doing great. We've bred them here. We started with a few shrimp, and now we've got just tons of them. They love our water, they love our system, and they breed like crazy for us. Curtis Ramsey. For the saffron molly, what tank size would you breed them in? Do they need larger than a 40 breeder? What's your opinion? No, I don't think they need larger than that. I do think a 3-foot footprint would be great, especially if you want to raise the fry in the tank. So I don't know what your breeding strategy is, but if you're going to separate the babies from the parents or do breeding traps or those, divide off a section for the breeders and then the babies swim elsewhere, however you're doing it, I think like a 20 long's fine, but that's also a 3-foot footprint. I think a 20 might be fine if you're not trying to raise the babies in the same tank. And if you are trying to raise babies, at least initially in the same tank, I'd go for something with a 3-foot long, I want to say wingspan. A 3-foot long tank, yeah. They do get big and chunky, but I think like a pair or trio would probably be fine in a 20. Any chance you know someone who got the Zhaoying, how do you say that? Zhaoying paradise fish and are breeding them? The ones I bought are all female. Oh no. Let's ask. Anyone who got those, are you breeding them? It looks like Christopher's in search of some males. Man, that's one I'd love to bring in again if I can find the right supplier. Those were gorgeous. Fred Monch. Yeah, I think I said that at least, if not correctly, at least, close. Welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Yes, thanks for becoming a member of the channel, Fred. Much appreciated. Welcome aboard. Hope you have a great ride. We're going to shut this down. I think, I'm going to scroll down and see what the last comment is. I'll do that. Are there any catfish you'd recommend for an unheated 60-gallon cube with white clouds, 65 to 73? I want to say like highway catfish, Tachycerus, but I think they might eat the white clouds. Something tiny that can be cold with white clouds. Would a mad tom eat a white cloud? If a mad tom catfish would not eat white clouds, then that might be something to look into. There might be some that are small enough not to, but I'm not quite sure about that. The trick is it has to stay small so it doesn't eat the white clouds. That's what I'm running up against. I don't know, look into mad toms and see if that's helpful at all. Now we are going to shut it down. I want to thank my moderators for moderating. I want to thank all the members of the Fishmonger crew. Thanks so much. Thanks for being on this good ship lollipop. Thanks to everyone who gave out memberships today. Kelly Foreman, thanks for making the memberships rain. Much appreciated, lady. Everyone who was active in the chat, I really appreciate that. Thanks for giving us, thanks for making it a good discussion. Stuff to talk about is useful in these things. Everyone that's lurking, all hail the Lurker Nation. If you are listening on the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening on the podcast, bless you for waiting as long as you did for me to upload these. And thanks for listening. We'll be back next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. I don't know if Johnny is done listing. Oh, wait, I've got to check this. Whoops. Yeah, Patrick's here. I never closed out the giveaway. Patrick, congratulations. I figured you'd be here. If you would send us an email, hello@dancefish.com, I think you know the drill. We'll get you taken care of. And congrats, it's about freaking time. Oh, I want to see real quick if Johnny finished listing the new fish on the website. Looks like a lot of them are listed. Yeah, there might still be some going up, but a lot of the new fish are there. Oh yeah, there's still some that'll be going up later. They're not all up yet. All right, cool. All right. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Till then, have a great one. Bye-bye, folks.